Jai Baba. Everyone and everything, Jai Baba, is everyone and everything at the same time and for all time. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Thanks to beloved Baba and Jai Baba to all of you. We are reading beams from Meher Baba on the spiritual panorama. And the chapter's name is Supervening Orders in the Spiritual Panorama. And we are on page number 36. And this is session number 4.
Occult phenomena like stigmata, telekinesis, affecting the flight of objects such as a communion wafer through the air, elongation, elevation, etc., may amuse, astound, or overpower people, but they cannot bring about spiritual healing or uplift, which is the real thing that matters. They are just an illustration of the supersession of ordinary and known laws of nature by the supernatural and unknown laws of the inner spheres.
That should do, yeah. See, last time I think we did that there is a world of difference between spirituality and spiritualism. Spiritualism includes all these aspects of occult, paranormal, and Baba uses the word stigmata and other things. They have nothing directly to do with spirituality. Spirituality basically means love for God, love for our fellow beings, obedience and service to the Master, surrender to the Master. That is pure spirituality. How one conducts one's life selflessly for the concern and well-being of the other. So Baba says here, in page number 36, as I said, occult phenomena like stigmata. Now what is stigmata? These are bodily marks or sores like the one which Christ had when he was beaten up, when he was flawed, and when he was nailed. So that is stigmata. And telekinesis. Telekinesis is the ability to move objects from one place to another simply with the power of our own mind. So that is the meaning of telekinesis. Okay. Elongation. Elongation is to elongate either width or in the height. There are people who can make themselves elongate. Their feet are on the earth and the head is all the way up in the sky. Or elevation. People feel that they are elevated. They function against the law of nature, what we call as the law of gravity. That is elevation, etc. May amuse, astound, or overpower people. If we were to see anybody floating in the air, going from one place to another, ha 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 ha, people will just go and bow down to them and do sashtang namaskar as if he has achieved something. These have nothing to do. So Baba says they may amuse, astound, or overpower people, but they cannot bring about spiritual healing or uplift, which is the real thing that matters. When we talk about spiritual healing, Baba says that real healing is spiritual healing, where one is devoid of any doubts or delusions or hallucinations and has love for God. So that is the real meaning of healing. There are people who are healers, they heal the physical form, they heal the mind, but that is not real healing. Baba goes on to say to such an extent, untimely physical healing may retard spiritual healing. In other words, it's very important to understand if at all we are helping others, we should be doing it in such a manner that I am not the doer, it is Baba who is doing through me, and we are absolutely unattached with the results. Whether it functions or does not function, it is none of our business, it is Baba who is doing. So coming back to reading, they are just an illustration of the supersession. Supersession means it is taking the place, it is pushing off the lower laws and it is taking the place, it is superimposing itself. Supersession of ordinary and known laws of nature by the supernatural and unknown laws of the inner planes. Spheres, inner spheres. We had done this earlier when Baba says that there is no such thing as miracle. Everything happens according to the law. There are various laws, supervening laws, one above the other, based on which sphere we are stationed in. And if a person who is stationed in a higher sphere functions, he is not doing any miracle, he is functioning on those laws of which we are ignorant, for us it is a miracle. So there is no such thing as a miracle.
The curious might very well occupy their minds with these things, but they are best relegated to the background as insignificant.
So many people, out of curiosity, indulge themselves, entangle themselves with all these paranormal or occult phenomena. So Baba says the curious may very well occupy their minds with these things, but they are best relegated to the background as insignificant. It has no relevance in the realm of spirituality. They are insignificant.
The real lover of truth passes by these things without becoming entangled with any of them. He cannot afford to be distracted or diverted from his real objective, namely, attaining union with God and releasing the radiance of his purity and love.
We have done this, and Baba says it over and over again. The aim of life is to love God, and the goal of life is to become one with God. Everything else is insignificant. Baba also says that the whole purpose of creation, what is creation? Creation is a divine incubator in which the consciousness of the soul incubates and becomes perfect. The only purpose of creation is to give us this final experience of the Aham Brahmasmi state or I am God state. And that is why Baba often says that apart from the experience of the I am God state, all other experiences, howsoever enchanting, howsoever attracting, howsoever, lofty, have no spiritual significance in itself. So once we realize that all these experiences that we may go through while traversing the planes of consciousness has actually no importance, because they are nothing but some kind of operations of the law in the domain of illusion, in the domain of duality, in Maya. So once we are very focused, so Baba says here that he cannot, that means the one who is very much focused on achieving the goal, he cannot afford to be distracted or diverted from his real objective. What is the real objective? Like Baba says, the goal of life is to become one with God, namely attaining union with God and releasing the radiance of his purity and love. And by that I would interpret to become a perfect master, because only a perfect master can release and use his infinite knowledge, power and bliss for entire creation, more particularly for humanity. The mazubs cannot use that, and the saliks do not use that. We know the mazubs have no consciousness of the world itself. So perhaps what Baba means is that one has to achieve that goal of not just God realization, which is, as we know, from the 4 journeys, it is only the first journey, but to enter into the 3rd journey, which is that of a kutubiyat or a perfect master or a Sadguru.
The apparent anomaly of miracles does not constitute the violation of known natural laws, but means only their supersession by other unknown laws. It also does not mean violation of the higher karmic laws which supervene upon natural as well as supernatural laws. However, among the supervening orders in the spiritual panorama, there is one important factor which transcends and controls all laws, including the supernatural laws and the law of karma. That factor is divine grace, which is beyond all laws.
The apparent anomaly would mean abnormality or deviation from the root, from the normal rule. The apparent anomaly of miracles does not constitute the violation of known natural laws. It doesn't mean violation. There is no law which is violated. As we did earlier, there are supervening laws, one above the other. So they adjust and they are very fluid. They adjust and bend themselves and they become pliant for the other laws, like a springboard for the other laws to function. So there is no violation of known natural laws, but means only their supersession by other unknown laws. There are known laws and unknown laws. So unknown laws have now taken over the known laws, and therefore we say it's a miracle. It also does not mean violation of the higher karmic laws which supervene upon natural as well as supernatural laws. In the earlier chapter we had done about the karmic laws, the supernatural laws, the mechanical laws, and Baba explained that if a person is destined, we did that, to let us say live for 90 years, but he indulges into unhealthy living, like he becomes a glutton, then even though naturally he was supposed to live as per karmically 90 years, but because of his behavior, because of his actions, he may even die at 70. So all these laws are functioning in cooperation with each other. However, among the supervening orders in the spiritual panorama, there is one important factor which transcends and controls all laws, including the supernatural laws and the laws of karma. And what is that factor? That factor is divine grace, which is beyond all laws. We had done it earlier that the dominion authority of the law of karma is the domain of duality. As long as we are in duality, laws operate upon us. It may be basic laws, mechanical law, higher law, karmic law, supernatural law, whatever the law is, but it operates only as long as we are in duality. Once a person transcends duality and goes into the domain of unity, Advait, oneness, reality, truth, light, whatever you call it, once that transcendental state is reached, no law can bind such a person. So because God's grace, Baba's grace, Avatar's grace, Perfect Master's grace is beyond all laws, Perfect Masters, Avatar, God, they are not bound by laws and they can do anything in supervention of all the laws combined. So here Baba says that there is only one important factor which is superseding all the laws, and that factor is divine grace, which is beyond all laws. Why? Because divine grace comes from the place of unity, from the place of Advait, oneness, and so no law can bind somebody who has already transcended duality.
God forgives sins in the sense that He does not eternally damn anyone for his sins. He keeps the door of redemption eternally open. Through repeated sincere prayers, it is possible to effect an exit from the otherwise inexorable working out of the law of karma. The forgiveness asked from God evokes from Him His inscrutable grace, which alone can give new direction to the inexorable karmic determination.
I suppose this is already recorded in Listen Humanity, when Baba had given the Savas program. And Baba uttered words to the effect that I have forgiven all of you from all the sins that you have committed so far. He's forgiven. So the question was asked, if he has forgiven, then obviously all the karmas are balanced out, so they should experience mukti, or they should not go through all this rigmarole of day-to-day living. That is when Baba explained what is the real meaning of forgiveness. If one is not forgiven, then we all know that the starting point of anything is karma or samskar. Unless there is a samskar, there cannot be a form or a body. Unless there is a body or a form, you cannot experience the corresponding world. Now, if I have got a gross body, I am experiencing the gross world. I cannot experience the gross world unless I have a gross body. And unless and until I experience, my past impressions or samskaras cannot be expended or exhausted or utilized or used up. I cannot, so I have to experience. And when I experience from the platform of the limited, separative, self-centric, egocentric I am experiencing this, I again bind myself with fresh karma. So there is a vicious circle. And there is no way out, you cannot escape from this vicious circle. So Baba says here, God forgives sins in the sense that He does not eternally damn anyone for his sin. You're eternally damned, condemned for eternity. No, He doesn't. What does He do? He keeps the door of redemption eternally open. Door of redemption would mean salvation from. So in other words, when He says, I forgive you, it means that the past samskaras have been taken care of and a door is open so that you can escape from this cyclical, as I explained just now, from the cycle of impressions, creating expressions, expressions giving us experience, experiencing, again accumulating fresh impression. So He is keeping that door open for us to escape from this cycle of whatever I explained. He keeps the door of redemption eternally open. Through repeated sincere prayers, it is possible to effect an exit. This is the exit which is opening for us from the otherwise inexorable. Inexorable means it is severe. There is no way you can escape that. Inexorable working out of the law of karma. Inexorable working out of the law of karma is what I have explained. Cyclical, it will keep on happening till eternity. But when Baba says, I forgive you, or when we do very sincerely Baba's prayers, the prayer of repentance, and genuinely repent, and genuinely make up our mind not to repeat that again, then that door opens and you can escape. The forgiveness asked from God evokes from Him His inscrutable, mysterious grace, which alone can give new direction. So now it is giving new direction to the inexorable karmic determination. Talking about forgiveness, Baba says, and whenever I utter Baba's statements, they are paraphrasing. I am paraphrasing them. They are words to the effect. They may or may not be the exact words. But Baba says, mercy is God's nature. Merciful. He is always merciful. It's not that if you sin 1,000 times, He is not going to forgive. Mercy is His nature. So Baba says, man asks God for forgiveness. God, in His infinite mercy, forgives. Man, instead of remembering the forgiveness of God, remembers the deeds for which he is forgiven and thereby sows the seeds for further wrongdoing. In other words, it's a very powerful statement in the sense, wherever our dhyan means attention, focus. Wherever our attention is, there follows the urja. Urja means energy. And wherever you give the energy, that thing grows. So if I am constantly thinking about how bad I am, how sinful I am, how unworthy I am, etc., etc., what grows is that how unfortunate I am, how unloved I am, that thing will grow. How much of difficulties I am going through all the time. You are focusing only on difficulties. What will grow? Difficulties will grow. It's a natural law that if you are thinking about how fortunate, how lucky you are, and you are always in a state of gratitude for what Baba has given us, then those things will grow. So here Baba says, as I said, that instead of remembering the forgiveness of God, constantly we remember the deeds for which we have forgiven. Now if I am remembering the deeds which are sinful deeds, obviously those things will grow, they will repeat. And I had shared this again, and it's my, I would say, forte to keep repeating many times. In the brilliant book, and I love that, Conversations with the Awakener. There are 4 series: Conversations, More Conversations, Intimate Conversations, Flowing Conversations with the Awakener, all by our dear Bal Nathuji. And in the very first book, the very first chapter, the very first sentence, words to the effect again. What is that sin? He is asking the Awakener, which obviously is Meher Baba, because in none of the 4 books there is ever a mention about Meher Baba or even Baba. It's Awakener. So he is asking the very first sentence, the very first chapter, the very first book, what is that sin which you are unable to pardon? Words to the effect, again I am repeating. And the Awakener, which we know him as Avatar Meher Baba, says, ever since the day of creation, or ever since creation, no man, when we say I have sinned, what does it mean? It simply means that you have done something in ignorance, something which is beneficial to yourself. You see, any aspect of sin, if you talk about lust, you talk about greed, you talk about jealousy, you talk about pride, they are all pointing towards I, and I. It is ignorance. And this is because Baba says all suffering, we are suffering when we are sinning, all suffering is because of our ignorance of the true nature of the self. The true nature of the self is bliss. I am talking about the real self, capital S. That is bliss. Nothing ever touches the soul. Nothing ever happens to the soul. Everything that is happening to the consciousness of the soul, which we are experiencing through our limited, finite, separative, egocentric mind. We are experiencing, everything is happening there. Nothing is happening deep down at the level of the self or at the level of the soul. So that is a very, very beautiful way of explaining. Baba says, when Baba says, I forgive you, it means he keeps the door open for your redemption, and you can have a different direction to what you are already taking. But you have a choice to continue to take that also, and there is no harm. As Adi Kaka would say, better luck next life. If you don't take the opportunity this time, you can always come several hundred times and take that opportunity. Okay, go ahead.
The only miracle which is worthy of the name is the divine grace that knows no fetters and that can control the entire universe with all of its laws. It is the last supervening factor in the graded orders which obtain in the spiritual panorama.
So, in other words, Baba used to say that, that the only miracle that I do, in fact, Baba has said that my disciples, my followers, my lovers would belittle me by joining me with miracles or by associating me with miracles. Because I am not a Madari. Madari is the one who does, what is that? Like monkey dance and all that on the streets, I am not a Madari. And the only miracle that I will perform, and I do perform, is to make you like me. Like me means I will make you me. That means to give that experience. Other than that, it has no meaning. So the only miracle which is worthy of the name is the divine grace, that knows no fetters. Fetters means chains, bindings, and that can control the entire universe with all of its laws. Why? Because laws are in the domain of duality, illusion, ignorance. Grace is coming from a different sphere altogether. It is the last supervening factor in the graded orders which is procurable in the spiritual panorama.
Divine grace is not concerned with phenomena. It is concerned with the emancipation and spiritual fulfillment of souls. Here, an interesting question is, does God work miracles in the narrower sense of operating the hidden laws of the inner spheres? The answer is, God does everything, and at the same time, He does nothing. He leaves everything to the natural and supernatural forces prevalent in the spiritual panorama of the universe.
So divine grace is not concerned with phenomena. Phenomena, something remarkable, some happening, some event. No. In fact, Baba has even said that I can bestow my grace on the worst of the sinners. That is his choice. That is his whim. That is his hooky. That is his lahar, as we say. He can do anything, and there is nobody to question him why he has bestowed this grace on this person when he is not worthy of it. That reminds me of an episode. There was one gentleman who would come to Baba, and he would show himself as his lover, Baba lover, and indirectly or directly he would ask Baba for money. And Baba would, it could be Nariman, it could be Adi, it could be Merji, it could be anybody, would just say, give him some money. So they would give. Now those people are worldly wise, worldly people. So obviously they know that this man is just pretending and he is saying money, but actually he must be having a booze or he must be misusing that money or whatever it is. So Baba is saying, so given. It happened once, it happened 2 times, it happens quite a few times. So then somehow Erach felt that he should draw the attention of this fact that he is just pretending and all that to Baba. But you can't just blurt out and say anything at any time. So you have to wait for a particular mood, Baba's mood, and a particular timing. So Erach could catch that particular mood and said, Baba, do you know what sort of person that person is? So Baba says, Erach, do you know I am God? So, and then Baba says something which is so superb. Baba says, you only see his shadow and judge him. I know his substance and therefore I am giving him. And then Baba went on to say, okay, do you know how much effort he has put in to be only this much bad? You call him bad, he's a bad man. Only this much bad. Had he not put this effort, he would have been far flung somewhere. So I am appreciating his effort, and you don't know him, and you are judging him. So you are just seeing the shadow and judging him, whereas I know it's a very, yes. 1 minute, I'll give you a mic because there are people watching online. Yes, Prakash.
It's about the previous paragraph.
Yes.
Baba says here, through repeated sincere prayers, it is possible to effect an exit from the otherwise inexorable working out of the law of karma. Now, are we talking about repentance prayer?
I would say yes. But not only repentance prayer, any prayer. See, basically genuine repentance should come from the heart. Baba is spoon feeding us by giving us this repentance prayer and letting us know what you should be repenting for this. But even a sincere repentance, from the core of your being would be a very genuine, valid repentance which would reach Baba's heart and he would definitely forgive, is what I feel.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I remember, since you are asking, once somebody asked Eraj, do you pray? And Eraj said, yes. And then, how do you pray? Means, what do you pray? So he just closed his eyes. Oh Baba. Oh Baba. From here deep down. And that is his prayer. Everything is over with. So it is not necessary to say all these things. It is from the core of your being. Another thing Baba says in the discourses, that each one of us do all kinds of rubbish out of our ignorance. There's nobody who has not done something which we call sinful. And Baba always forgives. In the discourses, Baba says, same thing, same thought which I said, about forgiveness, that it is okay, perfectly okay to bring out all that remorse. Once and for all, everything out, dump it, ask for repentance. If you are believing in Baba, obviously Baba, otherwise any God that you believe in, just bring it out, repent, and be sure, be convinced that you are forgiven and dump it, never to be brought into you again. But what we do is we keep on repeating that. We keep on repeating what we have done wrong. And that is, if we talk the language of right and wrong, then that is wrong. Because then you are not letting it go. You are supposed to let it go and throw and have that conviction that Baba is taken over. Baba once, I think it was in one of the Savas programs, he said, I am asking you to give me your troubles, your difficulties, your shortcomings, your attachments, your worries. So what you do, you lift it up from your being and you bring it near my head, but you are not putting it on me. You are preserving it as if it is such a priceless possession, and instead of dumping it on me and saying, Baba, take it, it's yours, you handle it, you manage, no, you are again putting it back in you. And then you are saying that, Baba, I am not able to get over the worries and all that. How can it? Because we are not sincerely trying to be detached with that. Once we have prayed and once we feel that it's over with, we don't do that. We keep on repeating. There's a story, it is not from Baba's literature. There was a master, I'm sure it's a very common story. He comes in his sabha with a limping leg, he's limping. And he shows a knee which is swollen, all yellow with pus, And he says something very bad has happened. And this is all septic. And there's only one solution, one remedy. And he was sitting on the bank of Ganges, river Ganges, Ganga, we call it. Only somebody who is very pure, if he sucks this poison from my knee, then I'll be cured. But if a person is impure, and if he comes and sucks, then the person will die. So he says this. As soon as he finishes saying this, one from among the crowd, he jumps into the river, comes out, runs and starts sucking. And what does he find? It was sweet mango juice. So that is when the master says, that this is the faith. He had the faith that by my taking a bath or a dip in the Ganges, I will become pure. All my sins will be washed. And immediately he runs and sucks this, and he is benefited with the sweet mango juice. So that kind of conviction we should have in Baba's prayers when we say the prayer of repentance, that yes, I am clear of all these things. Now I should not repeat it again. So that's it. So Baba very beautifully explains that in the discourses also about remorsefulness, bringing it out and then just dumping it, forget it. All right.
Although God does not...
I don't think I have explained. Divine
Does
grace...
God?
Sorry? Does God work miracles in the narrower sense of operating the hidden laws of the inner spheres? The answer is God does everything, and at the same time He does nothing. Now I don't know whether it is here or somewhere else he had explained. It is like sandalwood. If you take the trouble of coming, sandalwood does not give its aroma to specific people. No, it is just giving and giving and giving. If one takes the trouble of going near that sandalwood tree or a bark or whatever it is, one would benefit out of this pure aroma. So in that sense, the sandalwood does everything and also does nothing. So in the same way, God does everything and at the same time does nothing. And then he goes on to say, he leaves everything to the natural and supernatural forces prevalent in the spiritual panorama of the universe. So by and large, my understanding is, he does not intervene time and time again in the unfoldment of our own karmic whatever repercussions and allows things to pass. Because once we go through the karmic ups and downs in life with proper understanding of why things are happening the way they are happening, without playing the blame game, oh you are, because of you I am suffering like this. Nobody suffers in vain. It is always the result of our past karma. And in order to give us that result, somebody or the other or something or the other has to play the part of a villain. So they will play that part of a villain. It may be, in Hindi we say sasu, bahu and all that. The mother-in-law or daughter-in-law, whatever it may be. So in fact, if you look at it that way, there is nothing negative in life. If at all something apparently negative is happening to me, let us say because somebody did something and I am suffering. I cannot suffer unless and until I have sown the seeds of that suffering in the past. The past may be one moment past or 100 lifetimes past. And those seeds have now germinated and they are giving me the fruit in the form of suffering. It can be in the form of enjoyment also, in the form of pleasure also. But in order for that fruit to come to my consciousness and for me to suffer, we are talking on the negative side, somebody has to play the role of giving me that experience of suffering. So in fact, that somebody who is giving me this experience is a friend and not a foe. Because of his or her help, I am able to balance out my own karma. It's very logical. Only thing is we have to ensure that we do not sow further seeds. by reacting in such a way, poor me, what have I done, why am I suffering, always it is happening to me only, it is because of that person that I am suffering, if that person changed his behavior, I would not suffer. In other words, you are giving the reins of your happiness in the hands of somebody else and saying, now you make me dance. Katputli we call it. What is it called? Puppet show. Yeah. So the moment we take the reins of our own happiness in our own hands, and that is why we say growth begins where blame ends. You stop blaming anybody and everybody, you automatically take charge of your own happiness in your own hand, then nobody can affect you, nobody can do anything to you. So coming back to the reading, he leaves everything to, he always allows things to happen in a natural way. He does not intervene or interfere, knowing why. Why does he not interfere? Why does he not jump in and heal somebody of some ailment? Because he knows that that is good for that particular soul to go through that experience and wipe out the past samskaras and move further. Over.
Although God does nothing by way of small miracles, the entire universe, which has emanated from him, is the miracle of miracles. The more we ponder on anything in the universe, even the meanest of things, the more miraculous it appears to the human mind. And the universe, which includes an infinite number of such items, giving to each of them an indelible stamp of eternal significance, is an unquestionable miracle because it admits of 1,000 questions but offers no answer to the limited human intellect. So, having created the supreme miracle of the universe, God does not bother about performing further miracles minor miracles within this universe, but leaves it to the reign of laws. However, this does not apply to the God-man who may, if he deems it to be fit and necessary, perform numberless miracles in supervention of the normal routine working of the universe without attaching any especial importance to them.
All right. Although God does nothing by way of small miracles, the entire universe which has emanated from him, which has come out of him, is a miracle of miracles. The more we ponder would mean think deeply, delve on anything in the universe, even the meanest of things. Meanest, I would interpret it as the smallest, tiniest of things, meanest of things. The more miraculous it appears to the human mind. And the universe, which includes an infinite number of such items, giving to each of them an indelible stamp. Indelible stamp was something which is difficult to erase or remove. Indelible stamp of eternal significance is an unquestionable miracle because it admits of 1,000 questions but offers no answer to the limited human intellect. In other words, my interpretation of this would be that there is no foolproof answer to all the things that are happening in the universe because our mind, limited mind or finite mind, is unable to grasp and plumb the infinite aspect of the universe. So having created this supreme miracle of the universe, God does not bother about performing further minor miracles within this universe, but leaves it to the reins of laws. He's a very smart management guru. So he has instituted laws at various levels. He has put laws, he doesn't have to bother, the laws will function by themselves. However, this does not apply to the God-man. In other words, God-man, the Rasul, the Avatar, the Christ, the Buddha. This does not apply to Baba, the Awakener, who may, if he deems it to be fit and necessary, perform numberless miracles in supervention. Supervention means superseding, keeping the other laws aside and doing whatever he feels is right. In supervention of the normal routine working of the universe without attaching any special importance to them. Yeah, go ahead.
God does everything and
I was a little distracted in between, if you have observed. A thought came. I remember one very educated professor. He was flying from one place to another, and just next to him was a small child. And he was asking the child some very high funda questions on philosophies and all that, about God and all that. Of course, obviously, he did not know what to answer. But he says, "You are so brilliant, you are so wise. I want to ask you a simple question." I said, "Okay, ask." He said, "Goats eat grass, donkeys eat grass, elephants eat grass, cows eat grass. How is it that when they shit, they are all of different shapes and sizes? How is it?" That person said, "Okay, so you don't even know this much. You don't even know shit. What are you talking about? Philosophy and all this thing." So that was going on in my mind, and therefore I was a little lost in between. Okay, go ahead. God does everything.
God does everything and in another sense does nothing. Although God does nothing, those who approach Him with love and surrender derive everything that matters in the spiritual realm, even though He does not do anything in particular towards them.
This sandalwood example is yours. So, okay, go ahead.
God may be compared to the sandalwood. It continually emits a sweet scent in all directions, though only those who take the trouble to go near it have the benefit of its charming fragrance. But we cannot say that the sandalwood has done anything in particular towards those who approach it, because emanation of its sweet scent is going on all the time and is not specifically directed towards any person or persons.
Doesn't require any explanation. Go ahead.
It is available to each and all who care to come within its range. Thus, the sandalwood gives in one sense, and in another sense it does not give. Take another example. The river gives water to those who are thirsty, in the sense that if thirsty persons approach the river and drink its waters, their thirst is quenched. But the river does nothing either to invite them to itself or to fill them with its waters.
At one time, Baba had said, that my grace is ever flowing. It is dependent upon you how much you want to loot or take away. That was one sentence which it is up to us. It is not that Baba is not giving his grace to us. It is we who have shielded in such a way that we are not able to take advantage of his grace that is ever flowing. At other times, Baba had given this example that there is a well and you dip a lota. Lota is a small, like a tin box, small tin box.
Mug. A small
mug. Okay, a mug, whatever. And then put it through the rope and dip it in the well and keep it like this 10 minutes. How much will it bring out the water? Only the size of the mug, right? But you just put a big bucket, splash it in and pull it out instantaneously. How much will it give? The whole bucket. In other words, His grace, or how much we can derive from Baba, get from Baba, is dependent upon the size of our vessel. How big is our vessel? Accordingly, we'll be able to take that much from Baba. That was one aspect. The other aspect about Baba, which I've been repeating as I said, one fine day, wherever it may be, I don't know, it could be Mehrazad Mandli Hall, where Baba said that there were some people sitting over there, maybe Iraj, Pendu, Francis Brabazon, Alobaji, whosoever. And Baba says, for just about 1 minute, 2 minutes, I want you to sit in front of me, close your eyes, and just bring my image over here, where you have what is known as the inner eye or the third eye or the spiritual eye, between the eyebrows, just for a minute or two. So everybody is sitting, and Baba is sitting there. And after 2-3 minutes, Baba claps. So everybody opens their eyes. And then Baba is asking Francis Brabazon, what did you experience? So Francis says, Baba, you come and go. Baba says, no. It is you who is coming and going. I am always there. So in other words, if at any given point in time, we are not able to experience Baba's presence in us, within us, around us, it only shows that we have absented ourselves from His presence. It is not lack of His presence, but we have put ourselves over there. We have overshadowed Baba's presence, and that is how I would interpret it. So here again, similar to this, what is being read over here is that His grace is always there. It is the river is always flowing. If you are thirsty, you go to the river and get it. So Baba's grace is always flowing. If you are unable to experience, we need to work on ourselves so that we can experience His grace flowing towards us.
These examples show how God does everything and at the same time does nothing. This naturally applies to the so-called miracles, which are minor happenings within the great miracle. Mind also can be called the great miracle of the universe because it is out of the mind that the illusion of the universe arises.
Very beautiful. Mind also can be called the great miracle of the universe because it is out of the mind that the illusion of the universe arises. Mind stopped is God. Mind working is man. Mind working fast is mad. Mind slowed down is must. So in other words, what Baba is saying is that the universe, the illusion of universe cannot exist without the observer, without somebody who is witnessing. In other words, without the mind, there is no illusion of the universe. I hope I am making myself clear. If there is no mind, for example, when in sound sleep state, the mind goes into abeyance. It's not completely eradicated. It cannot be eradicated by one's own effort, Baba says. Manonash, as we say. But it is in abeyance. It is now in a state of latency. It is not manifest, unmanifest. The moment it manifests, the first thing in the morning when we wake up and when the mind starts functioning, what do? We create our own universe. We are creating our universe. You see? So here Baba says, mind also can be called the great miracle. Why? Because it is out of the mind that the illusion of the universe arises.
Mind is a patent miracle. Parent miracle, sorry Baba. Yet the fulfillment of its destiny lies in self-annihilation.
So the beauty of the mind is, it is born in order to help consciousness to evolve. And once the consciousness completes its evolution in the first human form, it does not want to go away. It's like you feed a dog a biscuit or give some milk. The dog has come in the house, now the dog doesn't want to go. It is remaining with us. So mind is like that. Mind is very, very important, very essential for the evolution of consciousness. But after the consciousness is whole and complete, mind does not want to go. Mind wants to control everything. Mind wants you to think in a certain way, to speak in a certain way, to behave in a certain way. Only at the fag end of the journey, finally, on the sixth plane, last vestige of the mind or the samskaras is the third eye, and only with the help of a living perfect master or the avatar, who's the eternal living perfect master, this goes, the mind goes, and you experience Aham Brahmasmi, I am God state. So mind is a parent miracle, the first miracle parent, yet the fulfillment of its destiny. What is the fulfillment of the destiny? That mind is to be annihilated.
It has
self-annihilation, correct.
It has not fulfilled its true purpose if it does not completely disappear.
That means in all of us sitting here, it has not yet fulfilled its purpose because it is still there. It should be annihilated.
The temporary clay model often has to be destroyed in order to bring out a statue of permanent importance.
How beautifully Baba explains that there is a statue, a murti. We have a clay model for everything. And then once the model inside is there, the clay has to be broken. Only then the model will be, So in other words, this mind is a clay model. It has to be broken, it has to be shattered, it has to be annihilated. Sorry?
Clay model of God.
The mind is, I would say, clay model of consciousness, of developing consciousness, of developed consciousness. Yeah, correct. Thank you.
The form of wooden planks is raised only to be replaced later by a slab of concrete, and the hen's egg has not fulfilled its destiny until it is broken from inside by the pecking of a hatching chicken.
How beautifully Baba says, the form of wooden planks, we see wooden plank is raised only to be replaced later by a slab of concrete. You put wooden planks, then you add cement and concrete and everything, and once it is solidified, you break the wooden plank. So now that is the purpose. And the hen's egg has not fulfilled its destiny unless it is broken from inside by the pecking of the hatching chicken. If it is opened from outside, if it is broken from outside, then you will have fried eggs or scrambled eggs or whatever. But if it is broken from inside, then the hen would bring out the chick.
A life is born.
So Mike. Arey Baba, I don't understand what you are saying, so I want a mic. The point is there are people listening online, so they would like to hear.
No, I didn't understand this. What he is, comparing it to.
Okay. The mind has a purpose. It is a parent miracle. The purpose of the mind is to help consciousness to evolve. Right? Now, once the consciousness has evolved and full consciousness is gained in the first human form, then all the exercises that we do in terms of reincarnation or in terms of involution is to break the mind, is to make the mind weaken and then break it. So Baba says it has a purpose, but it has not yet served its purpose unless and until it achieves self-annihilation. That means manonash. So then Baba gives the example of this plank which is required. Plank is required for what? For the concrete. To build let us say you want to build a wall. What do? You take 2 planks, you put cement, concrete, remove the plank. So that is how. In the same way, hen. What is the purpose of the egg when a hen lays egg? What is the purpose of the egg? The chick has to peck from inside. Only then the chick will come out. So in the same way, mind has to be broken. The shell has to go. Only then you will experience the state of I am God. Got it? The chicken always comes in my language. Without chicken, nothing happens. Because Baba says, no, the mischievous chicken in the nothing and the everything. So he's the one who was the mischievous one to create all these things. Anyway.
In the same way, the mind mold arises only in order that it may be shattered to pieces and that its bursting may make possible the unfoldment of true and unlimited understanding, which is self-sustained.
At the moment, the understanding is through mind. It is not self-sustained. Here, everything we are understanding through the filters of the mind. Mind itself is limited. What we can understand is only limited. Mind wants to know that which is beyond the mind. In order for mind to know that which is beyond the mind must go. That means mind must be shattered. The mind should not be there, and we should have self-sustaining knowledge. That means knowledge of the self by the self, through the self, something like that. So, thus the mind,
Thus the mind, which is the parent miracle, comes into existence only in order to vanish.
The whole idea of the mind will be fulfilled only when it vanishes. Like how the laying of the egg will be fulfilled only when the pecking takes place. The laying of the plank would be fulfilled only when it is shattered, broken down, after the concrete wall is made. Yeah, correct. Absolutely. That is exactly what Baba says, that with the mind, you have to annihilate the mind, which is an impossibility. You need a help of somebody who has no mind, or I would say universal mind, being the avatar or the Sadguru. He only can help us to shatter the mind from outside. You see. Another example that Baba gives is that of a boiling water in a pot, and there's a cover, and on the cover there's a stone. So irrespective of how much strength you put in from boiling, it is never going to overturn the stone. Only from somebody who is outside lifts the stone, it can happen. So the whole Leela or God's game is such that every effort that we make to annihilate the mind only strengthens the mind. And therefore Baba says, don't bother about all these things. All these things are given, Baba says, to appease the mental convulsions of mankind. The intellectual convulsions of the mind, Otherwise it has meaning. But basically what has more meaning is to love Baba, to obey him, try to obey him, and to surrender to him. Surrender would mean, as I say, sir, under. That means you put your sir under his feet and allow him to kick you like a football. In other words, no complaints for anything. Just be happy in whatever you are going through, knowing full well that what we are going through is because of our past deeds, that Baba is watching us. He is purposely not intervening because he wants us to grow and come out of this rigmarole, quagmire, you can say.
The vanishment of the mind means it's stopping to function as mind. In its normal functioning, the mind sees, hears and speaks, but it has to cease this functioning. It must not see, hear or speak through impressional goadings as it is wont to do. When it succeeds in stopping its impressional functioning, it has vanished as mind and achieved the last miracle in its vanishment.
Okay. The vanishment of the mind, that means manonash, annihilation, means it's stopping to function as mind. Basically, mind. Now, for example, if I say, I am listening, I may say I am listening through my ears, but actually I am listening through my mind. I am seeing through my mind. In other words, it is the mind which interprets, which judges, which evaluates, and which tells me this is a good word or this is a bad word. If it's a good word, I'm supposed to smile and be happy. If it is a bad word, I'm supposed to frown and get angry. Now, words in itself are just words. So what is it that is making us so aggressive or so loving is the interpretation of the mind. So the mind has to stop, means here Baba said, means it's stopping to function as mind. In its normal functioning, the mind sees, hears and speaks, but it has to cease this functioning. I'll give you an example which is a very common example. Swear words, I won't say it here. You know what is swear word. Now supposing somebody, I'm walking in the street and somebody from behind uses a very nasty swear word and hits me on the back. Tar! My immediate response, because my mind is saying, how dare he say something like this to me? Who is he to beat me like this? I will not spare him. Blah, blah, blah. I turn around and I see my friend whom I had not met for the last 45, 50 years. What will be my reaction? My reaction will be, I will embrace him with so much of love. Tears may come out of my eyes. The words are bad. The hitting is bad. But my mind immediately shifts. My God, where were you? Where the hell were you for 50 years? There's joy. So words and actions in itself cannot affect us unless the mind interprets it for us in a negative way. If it interprets negatively, then I get absolutely ruffled. How dare? So it is not the words in itself, any word you see, that is going to affect us. It is the mind's interpretation of that words which affect me. I am clear, very clear. So it's very important to understand here mind's role is that, it keeps us, it makes us happy, the moment, okay, I'm digressing, usual. The moment we tell ourselves that I am going to interpret everything that comes to me in a positive way. In other words, I am not going to allow anything outside of me to hurt me or to make me sad, because I can only be hurt or be saddened by the interpretation of my mind. I hope I am making myself. Anything out there is out of focus, you bloody blah 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 blah, is because mind is like an SLR camera. There are experts, SLR, barabar hai, correct word. Single lens reflects something. I am seeing everything blurred, everything ugly, dirty, not all elongated like how we saw, stretched. Now I am adjusting the lens. The moment I adjust, wow, how beautiful. The thing has not changed. My perception of the thing has changed. My lens, I have rectified my lens in such a way that nothing outside of me will affect me, because I have not given the power and the authority to make me sad or make me unhappy to anybody outside of me. Try to understand. Then where the sadness come from? Even if something negative is happening, I will interpret it. I will interpret it anyway. Oh wow, that means something I have done something wrong in the past. So Baba is making me experience this negative. Thank you, Mr. So and so or Miss so and so, Mrs. so and so, for giving me this experience in my heart. I am so happy that this experience, because nothing ever happens to the consciousness. Nothing comes on the screen of our film unless and until that has been already recorded in the film reel. If in the film reel it is not there, it cannot be projected on the screen. Simple as that. The film reel is our own karma, our own past actions. What is coming on the screen is what my experience, day to day, moment to moment experience is what coming on my screen. Now, if I feel that something so-called wrong, bad has come on the screen, what does it mean? I have already recorded it. So it is my own recording which is coming on the screen. So since I am the producer of that film, I can also edit it. I can change it, I can modify it. Baba gives it in discourses, page 331, you see, we have read, last time we did that fate is a result of man's own karma pursuing him from past lives. And just as it has been caused through past karma, it can be altered, modified, and even undone through karma in the present. Not the exact words, words to the effect. And therefore, proper understanding and intelligent use of the law of karma can make man master of his own destiny. As simple as that. Whatever I have done, I have done. I don't know what I have done in my last life or 10 lives before. But at least in this life, let me modify, alter, change, undo what I have already done. That I can do. That power I have got. Why? Because I am the editor of this film. So once we start doing that on a continuous basis, by and large, the film will change automatically. It will not affect us. The main point what we are trying to convey is, things will happen the way they are supposed to happen. It will not affect us. It will not finish. Now what? Nothing. There's nothing in life for me. Not that way. You will understand, okay, this is a part of living. Right? So, coming back to our reading, there was something else in my mind, but I think I have forgotten. Okay, it will come, if it comes. Mine is gone. No, not gone. I wish it had gone. No. All right.
The mind is a miracle in its origin, in its functional products, and last but not...
No, 1 minute. I think I have not completed. Where were you? No, but 1 minute. It must, you have not read this. Okay. It must not see, hear or speak through, this I have not done, through impressional goadings. Beautiful words. Fantastic. Impressional goadings. Goading. Danda marne ka. What is beating, like how? This, what should I say? Buffaloes, cows, goats, sheep, shepherd would... That is called goading, you know. Now, we are being goaded through our own impressions, which is samskaras. So, very beautiful. It must not see, hear or speak through impressional goadings, as it won't means it is accustomed to doing. Won't means accustomed to doing. Sorry? As it is wont to do. Means it is so accustomed to be affected and to be... There is a tendency on our part to be haji, yes. To what? To our impressional goadings, to our own impressions or samskaras, which the mind should not do. Then we can say that the mind has stopped becoming mind. Go ahead.
We finished.
When it succeeds,
do that.
Oh, you read all this? Huh?
Only up to that. Then I have to read.
Okay. When it succeeds in stopping its impressional functioning, our mind functions on impressions. The moment we stop giving any importance to the mind's goadings, when it succeeds in stopping its impressional functioning, it has vanished as mind and achieved the last miracle in its vanishment. In other words, I would say in this way, in other words, we should not be reactive to what is happening in our life. We should try to be responding to what is happening in our life. There is a world of difference between reaction and there is a saying, you know, reaction is reaction. Now you remove that seed. How you see the things happen and remove it and put it at the front. Then reaction becomes creation. Reaction becomes creation. That means you become creative in your responses to what is happening in life. In other words, what it means is that instead of tit for tat, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, etc., when you respond out of love, out of understanding of the law of karma, then by and large, the tight samskaric impressions become loosened, feeble, weaker, because I am not giving it food. I am not encouraging correct. So then it will die, it will become weak. I am not giving him or her or it vitamin tablet. So there is a saying, that between the stimulus is something which is making us uttejit, we call it, which is triggering us, which is wanting us to do a certain action. There is a gap or a pause between the one minute.
Trigger.
Okay. The stimulus. Thank you. There is a pause, there is a gap between the stimulus, that which makes us uttejit, as I said, and your action. And if we are able to find that pause, in that pause lies the power to either react or to respond. Now the pause, people have got different methods of, somebody would say count from 1 to 10, somebody will say from 10 to 1, somebody will say take Baba's name, Baba. So in other words, we have to cut the relationship between the stimulus, that which is exciting us to do something, and the action, which will be more or less reactive, and take a pause. And when we take a pause and create a new course of action, when we create a new course of action which is more responsive, which is more loving, which is more, how can I please Baba? What would Baba be happy with if I took that particular course of action? Then the power in the earlier samskaras or impressions gets absolutely diffused. I would say diffused. So that is what my interpretation is, where Baba says, when it succeeds in stopping its impressional functioning, it has vanished as mind and achieved the last miracle in its vanishment.
The mind is a miracle in its origin, in its functional products, and last but not least in its vanishment, which is the pinnacle of its miraculous tenor.
So mind is a miracle all through. First in its origin, in its functional products, and last but not the least, in its vanishment, which is the pinnacle of its miraculous tenor. So tenor means the
Currency, the life of it.
The life of the miracle, yeah. So in other words, all through it's a miracle, and it would be really great if that miracle finds its natural death by vanishment, or by annihilation, or by what Baba uses the word manonash.
But the mind cannot jump over itself.
So this is what, with the mind you can't stop the mind. The mind cannot jump over itself. Like somersault. Baba says, if I were to tell you to jump over yourself, what would you do? At the most you would do a somersault. But that is not, you are not jumping over yourself. So mind cannot by itself overcome itself. Thank you. No. She's my, what should I say? She keeps reminding me because I tend to forget. What she says very beautifully. Baba says, it is something like you have to eat with your mouth, you have to eat your whole body. The example Baba gives. Thank you for reminding. So you start eating. One finger, another finger, everything you have eaten, then you come to the leg, then you come. But when it comes to the mouth, eating the mouth, how can you do it? You can't do. So it is that impossible for the mind to be vanished or to be annihilated by and through itself.
It can only make a somersault and hold before itself a pretense of annihilation, as do snakes and scorpions, which often pretend to be dead as a last resort to save themselves. When the mind gets annihilated, it happens not through its own somersault or gymnastics, but by an act of divine grace.
Only by the act of divine grace can the mind be annihilated. Of one's own effort, you cannot. At the most, somebody who is absolutely sincere in his, let's say, meditation, then what you will reach the maximum is samadhi. Samadhi means a state of no mind or mind in abeyance temporarily. But the moment you come down from samadhi, which is the highest state in meditation, again all these samskaras and impressions will goad you. It will again attack you. So that is the reason why Baba has been very focused on the path of love, on the path of selfless service, on the path of thinking and being good to others, rather than all these. They are all very, very good paths, there is no doubt. Karma yoga, Dhyan yoga, Bhakti yoga, Raja yoga, they are very good. But they will bind you with good karmas, whereas the end should be no karmas. So that is why Baba says, when you genuinely and sincerely love somebody, love in the real sense, you have no thought for your own self. You are just giving and giving and giving. And that way you are starving your false ego, the I. You are starving the ego. There is no sense of comfort, there is no sense of convenience, timing. You are just doing it happily for the benefit and goodness of others. And that is where your false separative ego I is starved, and that is the pathway which Baba recommends.
We can neither deny nor explain this divine grace, which transcends all of the graded orders, together with all their laws, in the spiritual panorama. With the wiping out of the mind, there is the wiping out of all minor and major miracles. This is the only miracle worthy of the name and which is spiritually necessary. All other miracles, despite their imposing gradations in the panorama, are like the evanescent waves which rise and fall on the surface of the ocean without being able to fathom its immeasurable depths.
So here what Baba is saying is, we can neither deny nor explain this divine grace, which transcends all the graded orders, together with all their laws in the spiritual panorama. We've already done that. When Baba's grace falls, it can fall on anybody, it can fall on anything. And there is no rule to it, there is no law to it. Grace is beyond all laws. With the wiping out of the mind, there is the wiping out of all minor and major miracles. This is the only miracle worthy of the name and which is spiritually necessary. That means Manonash, because then you experience the I am God state. All other miracles, despite their imposing gradations, they're imposing, very, 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 very lofty, very, very enticing, very, very attracting. In the panorama, I like the evanescent waves. Evanescent waves means momentary, fleeting. The waves, now it is there, it's gone. Now it is there, it's gone. Waves which rise and fall on the surface of the ocean without being able to fathom its immeasurable depths. It is not able to go and plumb the depth of the ocean. It is only very superficial, very fleeting, very temporary. It's just going up and down, but it has not taken the trouble to plumb or to fathom the depth of the ocean.
The miracle of wiping out the mind brings with it complete disappearance of all forms of manyness.
Immediately when you experience the I am God state, it simultaneously means I am everything. That means all forms of manyness, this, that, all forms of duality, good, bad, vice virtue, everything just goes away because you are that. The complete disappearance of all forms of manyness.
The many divisions of which mind makes too much and in which it becomes enmeshed are all within the domain of the illusion or the self-created objects of the mind. Within the domain of the objective world of imagination, there are differences, example, between the cobra, the tiger, the man, etc. But they are not in the mind, which is the origin of this imagination.
So we, in the objective world, we see this is a tiger, this is a dog, this is a donkey, this is a man. But once you achieve that oneness, there is no such difference.
All separateness vanishes as soon as the mind, which is the creator of the separateness, comes to its termination through the act of divine grace.
All separation. Because when we jump, as we say, from dream to the awake state, from darkness to light, from ignorance to knowledge, from manyness to oneness, Advait, oneness. The moment you come to oneness, there is no difference. So all separateness vanishes as soon as the mind, which is the creator of this separateness, comes to its termination through the act of divine grace. Everything over. Chapter close. Any questions? We still have about 2 minutes. No, if you have got 4, I don't want to start a new chapter. There are 4 minutes left. If somebody wants to sing or dance, they can come here and do that.
She's got a question.
Question? Nahi. Or any question, anybody. 4 minutes, I don't want to start a new chapter. I don't want to. It doesn't matter if we sacrifice 4 minutes. Yes, Rakesh, ask some question. Time pass. Oh, yeah. No? Okay. I thought you had a question. Anyway, we are thankful.
Mind is in abeyance? No.
We are thankful, eternally thankful to our beloved Master for giving us such in-depth knowledge about the things of the world. And now it rests upon each one of us how much we can take it home. Home doesn't mean our home. How much can we take it within ourselves and try to apply that in our living, to try to implement this. We always say, when we learn driving, I'm talking about Bombay. Once upon a time, there was a place called Worli Sea Face, where there was no traffic, not a single car, not a single scooter. So most people, when they go to learn driving, they will put that big L, learner L, red L, and go to that Worli and drive. And oh wow, I can drive, so nice. You know. But after coming back from the driving school, you go to Muhammad Ali Road, which is a crowded place, you can't even walk. You go to Bhindi Bazaar, which is again another crowded place in Mumbai. There if you can drive with the same confidence, then you can say, yes, you have learned driving. In the same way, when we do all these things in an atmosphere, Baba atmosphere of love, everybody, Jai Baba, Jai Baba, Jai Baba, Jai Baba. But when you go home and meet your mother-in-law or daughter-in-law or somebody whom you just can't face, and yet we know how to handle such people and such situation, then one can say that you have really learned how to drive the car of your own life. So we need to, this is a very good place to learn all, very beautiful, very lofty, absolutely profoundly deep. There's no doubt about it. But we need to internalize it and we need to apply that in our day-to-day living. And as Baba says, you know, the way to progress in the spiritual realm is to put into action, is to put into practice, little by little, something that you have learned, put it into practice. It's like, and I give this, we call it Sada Suhagan example, which means I only give that example. Soumya would sometimes say, Baba, you try to find out some new examples because now, before you say anything, people know what you are saying because you have been saying this for the last 30 years, like that. So there are those lamps, sensor lights. When you go near, it will light on. And then when you pass that, that light will go off and the other light will get on. So why I am saying this, it's an example that whatever little that we learn, if we put it into our life, apply that in our life, then we know, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. And then it will all be wow, wow. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Thanks, beloved Baba. Thank you very much. Jai Baba.